What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Dragon type Pokemon are back in the Pokemon TCG. It's been over a year and a half, I believe, since the last time we saw Dragon type Pokemon cards in Cosmic Eclipse. Sword and Shield does not have any yet, and we are getting them back in the next Japanese sets, Sky Stream and Towering Perfection, coming out on July 9th. The news and the cards and the translations we'll look at here are from pokebeach.com, so thanks to them for getting this information out for everyone. And also quick shout out to potownstore.com, the best place for you to get ptcgo codes, and be sure to use code CELIO for 5% off. Also subscribe to this channel for daily Pokemon TCG content if you enjoy the video. I don't have my lighting on. This is the second time I'm recording this video. It's 3 a.m. My internet went out the first time, so hopefully this one won't be too long, but I am very excited, although I might not sound it since I'm also very tired. We'll take a quick look at the pack art here, one with Rayquaza for Sky Stream and then Duraludon for Towering Perfection. And this is really awesome set art with Hydreigon and the big dragon energy in the middle. I think we are going to get a special dragon energy, not only because of that, but I think we'll get a special dragon energy, hopefully not double dragon energy. Yeah, but I'm excited about this. So let's start with Rayquaza Vmax, since that's the one everybody's going to want to see. Rayquaza V isn't really doing anything special. Dragon Pulse for 1 energy does 40 damage. And discard the top 2 cards of your deck, and then Spiral Burst 20 damage, plus you may discard up to 2 basic fire or 2 basic or 2 basic lightning attached to this Pokemon, and this does 80 damage more for each energy discard, so you can do a max of 180 with the basic V, which isn't terrible. Also note that these are Rapid Strike and the Duraludon will be Single Strike. Rapid Strike VMAX, the star of the whole show here. Rapid Strike, like I said, did I say Rapid Strike VMAX? I meant to say Rayquaza Vmax. Like I said, I'm tired. Rayquaza Vmax, awesome looking card. The art is reminiscent of past Rayquazas, as are the attacks of both Rayquazas, really. It has a very good ability, Sky High Wave. Once during your turn, you may discard all cards from your hand if you do draw 3 cards. This isn't limited to just one of these a turn, so if you get multiple Rayquazas set up, you can use multiple Sky High Waves to dump your hand, draw 3, dump your hand, draw 3, dump, and so on. Gmax Burst seems very powerful. Fire Lightning to do 20 plus. You may discard any number of basic fire or lightning energy from this Pokemon, and it does 80 more damage for each 80 more damage for each energy discard in this way. So I am assuming, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, that you have to choose to either discard fire or discard lightning. You can't discard a combination of them, and I'm assuming it's the same way for this attack up here, because attacks in the past have been like that. So I think it's safe to assume that's how this will work. So this is basically an up-to-date and power-crept version of the Rayquaza EX. I believe from Next Destinies back in the day, that was the Ray Eels deck, or the Rayquaza Electric deck. Now, Electric is not reprinted, but Flaffy is, with the exact same ability that Electric had back then. With the ability Electric Dynamo. Once during your turn, you may search your discard for a lightning energy and attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. So, assuming that we have to choose either fire or lightning, this deck will probably be built to choose lightning to discard to do more damage. So if we discard 3 lightning, it will do 260. If we discard 4 lightning, it will do 340. So quite a lot of damage and a built-in consistency, which is something we've been seeing a lot in Sword and Shield cards that they are pushing into the meta. We see it with Zacian V, the built-in consistency. We've seen it with Shadow Rider Calyrex, the built-in consistency. We've seen a pseudo version of this with Eternatus VMAX, not necessarily built into the card, but it gives you extra bench space, and Crobat V synergizes with it very well, being dark type. So that also kind of has synergy pushed along with it, but not necessarily built into the card. But we've been seeing this a lot, where they give us a good ability to help us move along with our game plan smoothly and kind of to not brick as much and to get the board set up with these strong Pokemon as opposed to them being on separate Pokemon. I think which is just them realizing that the game moves a little quicker at the moment and you need the abilities and the attack. Like you don't have enough deck space and time to set all of them up separately. So I do think this card's quite good. We won't be seeing it in North America and everywhere outside of Japan for quite a while, but we'll be seeing more from this set revealed as time goes on. Dragonite V unfortunately is not very good. Actually, maybe it's fine. It's not anything crazy. It does do 250 damage for 3 energy. So the first attack, 50 damage for 2 colorless, and it goes through effects. And then Dragon Gale for water, lightning, 250 damage. This attack does 20 to each of your own benched Pokemon as kind of like a drawback for doing 250 for 3 energy on a V Pokemon. It also has 230 HP, which is quite high. But water, lightning, in my opinion, is an awkward attack cost. Whereas something like this, fire, lightning, isn't too bad because it's just one of each and you can choose to go either way, a fire acceleration or lightning acceleration. Thinking about water, I guess it could be okay with Melanie. It wouldn't work with Frostmoth since Frostmoth can only attach to water Pokemon, but I'm not really sure without a Vmax coming along with Dragonite that you would ever want to build around a V Pokemon in a metagame of Vs getting knocked out by Vmaxes most of the time. And that is where I think we're going. That your V better be pretty darn good, and you have to be ready to set up a backup one if you're going all in on a V game plan. And I don't know if Dragonite V makes that cut to be good enough. There's also an Ampharos. Of course, it can evolve from Flaffy, but Flaffy really is the main part of this evolution line. But Ampharos's Electro Crush does 220 if you discard 3 lightning energy, and it costs 4 energy. So you could always run this as like a one of potentially if 220 is a decent damage to do in the given metagame. If you're already running like a 4-4 line or a 3-3 line of Flaffy, maybe toss in an Ampharos as like an in-between attacker, so go like Rayquaza Vmax, then Ampharos, then Rayquaza Vmax, if that sounds like it could work out when the time comes. We have a Flapple, which evolves from Applin. Flapple, for a colorless, does 50 damage times the number of your opponent's Pokemon in play with an ability, so that's the same as Evil Admonition Weavile from the Sun and Moon era. And the dragon Pokemon have this little claw mark up on the top right. Do these have it as well? They do. I didn't notice it on the Vs and Vmaxes, but I did see it in the blurb up top. Okay, very, very neat. So they have this defining thing about them going through the border of the card. That's quite interesting. So this Flapple actually has 2 good attacks. Oh wow, they both have Gung Ho Tackle. So they both have Gung Ho Tackle, Flapple and Appleton, that does 160 for Grass Fire if the defending is a V. Which, you know, I do think there's going to be some sort of dragon energy. Maybe just a Dragon Rainbow that's like no, or like Single Strike and Rapid Strike's Rainbow energies, or their Aurora energies, whatever you want to call it. Like just supply Rainbow plus an extra effect for dragons. But yeah, so this does 50 for each ability your opponent has in play. Maybe that'll do like, I don't know, 150. So maybe you'll be two-shotting things sometimes. That doesn't seem that great. Unless you're expecting to play against entire boards of abilities. And even if all 6 of their Pokemon had abilities, this still wouldn't knock out something like a Rayquaza. So I think this had to start with 50. I think it had to be 50 plus 50 instead of 50 times for it to be good. And then Appleton is 70 times the number of special energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon for just a colorless energy. Again, I don't know that that's good enough. It's interesting, and I do like that this idea that they both evolve from Applin, and that's a very good line to make. Like, you can play one of each of them and one or two Applin, and then in situations where you wanted to punish your opponent for abilities, you play Flapple. And situations where your opponent has a lot of special energy, you'd play Appleton. But I don't think that they'll actually work too well. Unfortunately, I don't think the scaling is high enough for the way the game is currently. Zinnia's Resolve, I did look at some of these ahead of time, and I think Zinnia's Resolve is an amazing card. You must discard 2 cards from your hand to play this card, and then draw 1 card for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play. This is great because I've been complaining that we don't have cards that rival Research and Marnie. Like, Research and Marnie are just 90% of the time, 99% of the time, going into your deck in some way. The only deck I can think of off the top of my head that doesn't play Research or Marnie. No, even Welder decks will play a Research, but some Welder decks don't play Marnie, and Chinchino Urshifu will typically not play Research. But outside of those outliers, the cookie cutter deck of standard format will play some amount of Research, typically 4, and some amount of Research, typically 3 or 4. Zinnia's Resolve, however, is a very good card that for decks where you want to build your hand, like a Chinchino engine that I mentioned, or Shadow Rider Calyrex, and you don't want to shuffle your hand away or dump your whole hand. This is good. This is a good consideration to have around as a supporter card. It's very similar to Steven's Advice and Erica's Hospitality, except instead of having a hand limit that you can have before playing the card, you have to discard cards. So I like Zinnia's Resolve. I'm sure it will see play. Pretty cool art as well. Stormy Range. Once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Lightning or basic Dragon Pokemon and put it to their bench. So this is kind of like Brooklet Hill, but for Lightning Dragon. I think this is cool. It obviously supports the Rayquaza Flaffy deck. I was going to say Ray Eels. I had to my brain had to work overtime there a little bit to not say Ray Eels, but it's obviously supporting Rayquaza and Flaffy, the archetype deck, that you can search out either a Mareep or a Rayquaza, put it to your bench. And I'm sure that there will be other Lightning decks that will make use of this. Awesome looking stadium. I like to see it. Next, we have the second half of this whole set, which is Towering Perfection, or the other half, because these are coming out in separate sets. So first we have Swablu, Altaria. We don't have Swablu shown, but we have Altaria. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a supporter card and put it on top of your deck. Interesting. This is the kind of card that at some points in the Pokemon TCG would be absolutely insane. But at other times, like this one, just being a stage 1, I'm not sure if it's worth it. Because you have to run 2 Pokemon, at least, a basic and a stage 1. And then it takes at least 2 turns to get it out. You have to bench the basic, wait a turn, then evolve. So those kinds of investments, although they sound quite small, because relative to the history of the game, they are, in the current standard format, just having a stage 1 Pokemon in your deck sometimes that is not absolutely pertinent to your strategy can be too much to ask for. Dialga with a pretty useless attack, Chrono Wind 80, and the defending Pokemon hits a V. It can't attack next turn. They'll just switch, retreat, or evolve. Then we have Hydreigon. It does 20 for a Psychic Dark, and then it does 100 more damage for each prize card your opponent took during their previous turn. So if you're playing this in a single prize deck, well, and your opponent knocked something out, you're going to be doing 120 with its main attack, because putting 4 energy on a 170 HP Pokemon, unfortunately, is not a good idea, because that thing is going to just get looked at by any of the meta Pokemon in the current standard format and be knocked out. So you'll be using the first attack, because that's all you can afford to attach to is 2 energy. So you're going to need them to knock out a Vmax Pokemon for this to do the damage you want. So that means they knock out a Vmax, you have to have a stage 2 ready on the board to do 320 to them, and you have to have the 2 energy. They knock that out, then you need to have your next attacker ready to go, since this will only last 1 turn in most situations. So I'm pretty sure this card is bulk. Noivern kind of looks like Noiverns we've seen in the past. It does 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon for a Psychic Energy. And then Synchro Loud does 60 plus 120 if you and your opponent have the same number of cards in your hand. So 180 for 2 energy on a V, honestly pretty good. And it's a V with no weakness, because dragons aren't getting weakness. And it can do 20 to everything for just an energy. If your opponent has a lot of Vs on the board, Telescopic Sight's doing 50 to all the bench Pokemon that are Vs. This isn't the worst card I've ever seen. 180 for 2 energy, 2 shots all Vmaxes. Psychic Dark is a weird energy combination, but Dark Pokemon are getting that kind of weird combination, as they always have. Did I say Dark Pokemon? Dragon Pokemon. Dragon Pokemon are getting that weird combination that they've always had. And I do think that Creatures is kind of self-aware at this time. I think after the first 4 Sword and Shield sets, they realized that some things weren't working, and they need to make things have these built-in engines, or they need to make things just work faster because of the preface they set with tag teams and Vs like Zacian and Vmax is Eternatus just being very, very aggressive. So I do think that they will have some sort of Dragon Energy coming to make these cards at least, 10% more playable at the very least. We have Duraludon V and Duraludon Vmax. The V really isn't anything special. They're both single strike. Note that there is a Duraludon V already that is metal type. Duraludon Vmax single strike. I think this is a decent card. Keep in mind, it's fighting metal. It would have been a lot better if it was fighting metal, because it can use single strike energy that provides fighting and dark. The ability says prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any special energy on it. And special energy is pretty big. And it's going to be pretty big in post rotation, especially if we get some sort of dragon special energy by this time. Mostly because Rapid Strike energy and the Rapid Strike Rainbow energy, Capture energy, the Single Strike energies, which I don't think are as much of a reason to play this card, but Single Strike energies, no, I take that back. Umbreon Vmax is very good. So yeah, Single Strike energies, the Rapid Strike energies, and Capture energy are all pretty popular in Japan right now. So and I imagine they'll stay that way. So this is a good ability. Of course, it does get shut off by Path to the Peak, but that means your opponent has to be, playing a deck that can afford to play Path to the Peak, and then they have to have it down. And even then, it has 330 HP, so it's not like it's just getting one shot by anything. And then Max Pulverization is a decent attack, 220, and it's not affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So this Pokemon kind of has it all. It doesn't have weakness, which is great. It's a tank at 330 HP with no weakness. It's single strike, so it has support. Like Karen's Conviction and Houndoom and single strike energy and single strike rainbow energy. And, just other general single strike cards that might be able to go with it because of the other single strike support you can play. So I do think this card is exceptionally solid. It has a relevant ability that can definitely protect it fully from attacks against some decks or on some turns against some decks, or put your opponent into awkward situations. It does not have weakness. Its attack cost is the worst thing about it, and not because of the number of energy needed, just the combination. But the attack does very good damage and relevant damage, that it can one-shot Vs and two-shot Vmax, which is great. And it also goes through all of effects, so it'll go through effects like in a Duraludon mirror, they would go through each other. So I think this card's very, very solid. It's not broken or anything but like that, but I think this is a very solid card. And I'm almost surprised because I do think Rayquaza Vmax is good. Rayquaza Vmax is very good. It's that this is the card that they're like pushing a little bit in the set. Kind of how we've seen Zacian and Eternatus and Shadow Rider Calyrex get that push in power in previous sets. But I don't think this one really suffers. This one isn't really being left out. I do think this card's pretty good. So we'll have to see. And then we have Swablu. We have Drampa for water fighting. It does 70, and if any of your bench Pokemon have damage, it does 90 more. So 160 for 2 energy on a single prize Pokemon. Again, if we get a double Dragon Energy reprint, then this... Oh, also that art is amazing. But yeah, if we got a double Dragon Energy reprint, let's not think about that. This could be okay with a double Dragon Energy reprint, but I don't think they'll do that. Cue the double Dragon Energy. And also another note, I don't know if I said this when I was noticing the claw marks, but them having this unique nature to dragon Pokemon make me think an energy's coming, because single strikes and rapid strikes have unique natures to them. They got energies, you know. And then we have another supporter and another stadium. So this is Raihan. You can only play this if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Choose one basic energy from your discard and attach it to a Pokemon, and then search your deck for any card. I think that's good. That's good. It gives single prize decks some hope. You wouldn't play this in a VMAX focus deck because you're only getting knocked out one time before the game's over. So it gives Vs or non-rule box Pokemon a little bit of a boost there. Because I doubt you would play this in a VMAX deck, unless it's like a VMAX deck where you always like try to win on the turn directly after your first VMAX was knocked out. Like if there's a specific formula to how the deck plays out every time, then maybe this could be played. But this seems like a Rosa-esque card, a single prize card. Crystal Cave is a stadium. Once during each player's turn, they may heal 30 from each of their metal and dragon Pokemon. So this is like Rough Seas, but for metal and dragon Pokemon. So this is cool. It depends if that 30 will ever be relevant. In the past, it's been relevant just because numbers were lower, but it seems cool. I can't really say how great it will be, but I mean, I think unless there's like crazy damage spread that makes that 30 relevant, I think this is better for dragon Pokemon because you can just search out. It's consistency instead of just healing 30 damage that might not even matter. And then there's promo versions of some of these cards, and then there's a Turtonator that does Shell Trap for firefighting 30, and if it's damage next turn, put 8 on an attacking Pokemon. Nothing too crazy. So those are all the cards that were revealed so far, just today, last night, this morning, whatever it is, whenever you're watching this. So yeah, dragon type Pokemon are back. I love that there's no weakness, because ×2 weakness on Vmaxes has been bothering me, because I don't like 3 prize Pokemon in already, but then adding weaknesses to all of them, and so that everything can get one shot by something. makes the game go even faster and be even more volatile. So I like that there's no weaknesses on dragons, and that would be a reason for me to play dragon Pokemon, just because there's no weakness. Zinnia's Resolve is a great supporter. Like I said, I think Rayquaza Vmax is good. Sky High Wave, we'll have to see. I might need time to think about that more, and we'll actually see it played in a few months in Japan, or a couple months. But I'm not sure what I think about Sky High Wave yet. I don't think that I think it's like broken. I don't think this is as overtuned as Zacian V is, but I do think it's going to be a very good card. But I like that you have to set up the stage 1 and you have to get to the Vmax here, and then once you do, Sky High Wave isn't like auto setting up this Pokemon. You still need to get to the Flaffy, like I said. And Sky High Wave does make you make some decisions. Is it worth it discarding all of your cards right now to draw 3? Is it worth it to do it again? And I would say that could also make players run into deck resource problems where they're milling themselves and losing because of that. But in a VMAX meta, I don't think that will actually happen. I like what they did with Flabble Appleton, but I don't think they're strong enough. Stormy Range, solid. It's a consistency card. And to my surprise, the VMAX that is featured at the moment that's not Rayquaza is actually pretty good. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with all this. It's great to see Dragon type coming back, or I guess it never really left. It's not like they ever announced it was gone like they did with Fairy, but it's been close to 2 years since we've had new Dragon type Pokemon cards. So yeah, I think this looks great. We'll have to see what else comes out of it. Each set's going to have 67 cards before secret rares, and here we only see about 12 to 14 from each set or so. So there's a lot of more cards to come to be revealed, and I'm excited to see what else comes out. Hoping for a pretty cool Dragon Energy that's not double Dragon Energy. So yeah, let me know what you think about these new Dragon cards recently revealed in the comments down below. And leave a like on the video and subscribe if you enjoyed it and want to see more daily Pokemon TCG content. Thank you so much for watching and bearing through me being tired and recording this for a second time. I apologize for my stuttering, my ums, my uhs, my calling dragon type dark type, I think. So yeah, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.